Hi everyone, it's Rochie and welcome to another episode of Getting Candid with Rochie. So it's Thursday night here in New Jersey. So good evening US and good morning Manila. Hope you're having a good time there guys. So please join me tonight and my beautiful guest, Miss I almost gave her name away but not yet because it's going to be all about beauty tonight. Yes, we want to answer this question: how to be beautiful, right? So, are you curious now? So, tonight, our very special guest is somebody who made her mission, her life mission to make people beautiful. Diba? She is actually a professional makeup artist and also a certified life and beauty coach. So, we're talking about beauty inside and out tonight. So, if you have any questions, again, don't forget you can put it in the comment section. Say hi to us and we're more than happy to answer your questions. Okay, so make sure to join us. So, without further intro, I want to introduce to you tonight our beautiful coach, our beautiful friend, and yes, the maker of beauty, Miss Ning Tadena. Hi, Ning.
Hi, Rochie. Thank you for inviting me. Good evening and good morning.
Yes. So,
Hanggang beauty
guys,
maker. My
yes,
gosh.
beauty maker, di ba? No, because you always talk about beauty, and of course, as a professional makeup artist, and also a beauty coach. So we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah.
You actually, yeah, made people beautiful, inside and out, as what they say. So without further questions, because I know it's going to be an exciting night for us, Ning, have you always been inclined or have you always been wanted to be a makeup artist?
Not at all. Not at all. As in, I am not an expert. I didn't know anything. I think it was my becoming a makeup artist came from a pain because I used to work in a five-star hotel and I was an account executive, but because I was so clueless about makeup, I'll still ask my office mate, please put makeup on me. And I'll beg her and I felt so helpless. And I would use products just because I heard one say, oh, this is nice. Ganyan. Nyari, tea tree oil daw with na concealer. Sabi niyo, oh, this is good for the skin. Sabi ko, oh yeah, sure, I'll try it. But then I didn't know that that concealer was yellow tone and tea tree wasn't good for the under eye because usually that's the one I want to conceal it. But it was wrong because I didn't, it was the wrong shade and it was the wrong ingredient for me
Mhm.
to use under my eye. So those frustrations led me to decide I want to study because I'm not an expert at all. So that's when
Wow.
I realized, yeah, that's when I realized that actually makeup is a skill. It
Mhm.
can some can be naturally talented with it, but I realized that even if I felt helpless, I could take control and be able to learn it and develop the skill.
Wow. So, how about being a beauty and life coach? Was it something you always wanted?
Yeah, so I think that's really what came more naturally to me being a life coach. And because I was a makeup artist, I before it was a separate thing. I was a makeup artist. People would ask me to join to do trainings in their companies to help. Like they'll ask me to do personality development trainings. But I'll go there and I'll teach them about makeup and grooming. And then I
Uh-huh.
became a professional life coach. And when people hired me to do personality development trainings, I realized I couldn't just teach them about outside beauty. I won't just teach them about grooming. It because beauty really comes from within. It's how you feel about yourself that actually makes you feel beautiful or not. Because I've been doing makeup for a lot of, well, I mean, in in the definition, in the cultural definition of what beautiful is. I've done makeup for beauty queens, for models, for actresses, um, and even if in the definition of our culture they're beautiful, even them, they still feel that judgment or something. I don't like this. I feel that I have to hide this. So I realized that it's not about the physical aspect. It's really about how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
That
Actually, that's interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting because us women in particular, we like to describe like this is a beautiful scenery, beautiful couch, beautiful house. We always use the word beautiful. Actually, we even describe, actors, models, those who are, I would say, even regular women. We always say, "Oh, you're beautiful," right? But
Mhm.
the challenge is we cannot on our own accept or even acknowledge that we are beautiful, right?
That is
so
so true.
so why do you think it is a challenge?
Okay, Rochi, I want to share with you because I'm actually an author of a book. It's called Unlock the Diva. And in the first chapter of the book, I already shared that in a study done in Europe, where there's an entrance, two entrances, one beautiful, that like there's really a sign that says beautiful, and then the other sign says average. And would you like to give a guess on how many women would go through the beautiful entrance and then the average entrance? How many would go through the average entrance?
Majority, or even if there's an ugly category, they might even go there all. Because I had, I got two girls, they're teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
I work with their friends, I've been helping in their school. I know that they are like, if you tell them they're beautiful, they're like, something's fishy. What do you want?
Yeah, that's true because 96% will go through the
Wow.
average. Yes. So only 4% will even dare to claim that they are beautiful. And so that's my question actually to myself. Then how would that woman who entered through that average door feel? What does she think she can contribute to the world if she feels that she's only average? So that's where my mission actually came out, that I want to bring out the beauty in women both inside and out. And most of the time I think a lot of women go through that average door because they don't want to be judged.
Hmm.
Right? Because the moment you enter
Yes.
that beautiful door, there will be people on the other side saying, "Who's she? Why is she entering through that entrance? So why is she claiming that she's beautiful?" And then another, she might have believed really because of the cultural norms or what we see in the magazine that this is what beautiful is, and I don't look like that, then maybe I'm not beautiful. And most of that the time, the definition has not been based on, well, a lot of the magazines, Hollywood. It's not
Mhm.
based on how we look. It's not based on our color. It's not based on our eye shape. It's not
Mhm.
based on our height.
Height.
Yes. So that's me because my definition of beautiful before was fair skin, tall, slim,
Mhm.
um, like long legs,
Yep.
and pointy noses, big eyes, and I realized that's not me.
Hmm.
So I'm probably not beautiful.
Yeah. So I think here,
And
because
that's
it's.
a lot of what other women feel. That's why now is the age of empowerment where they now see their own kind, their race, being seen in Hollywood, being seen now in covers of magazines, and that somehow affirms them a little bit though,
Mhm.
that hey, I can be my look, my ethnicity can probably be more accepted now. But what I feel now more though is because of Instagram, because of all the I'm a makeup artist, but there's so many naman in the cosmetics industry that is not embracing the natural beauty of the person anymore.
Mhm.
feel that it is so artificial already that again we cannot accept what's naturally given to us.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have a balance of that, that you can use the tools that you have like makeup but still feel natural and still feel beautiful in your own skin.
Yeah. So that is interesting because I'm here in New Jersey, one of the most diverse states in the
Yeah.
US. So we see, for us it's normal to see not just white, because when you see white, there are the Irish, the Italian, the Polish. So we see all these kinds of beauty, and I always say, oh, she's beautiful. Or like when it comes to black, we don't have just one kind of black. We have some are Hispanic that are actually black, from the blacks from the islands, from South Africa. So it's very, and I said, these women, they could be have the darkest skin, but if you look at their faces or their eyes, they're so beautiful. And sometimes if I tell them, you know what, you're so pretty, they're like, no, you're pretty because you're Asian. You got fair skin, you got straight hair. And I'm like, no, no, no. And I like it because teenagers are very vocal, especially here, because even if I'm a grown up and if I tell a teenager, hey, you look so beautiful, they're like, no. Unlike in maybe in Filipino culture, we might be a little hesitant. We'll just say yes, yes, if it's a grown up. But for us, it's like no. Or sometimes if you tell them, there's actually one video that I've seen, I think a few years ago, that somebody was just going to girls in the high school and just saying, hi, you're beautiful.
Mm,
And they're capturing what is the reaction of that teenager.
mm,
Most of them are like, what is your problem? Like, something's off with you. Or there were even some girls who are very confrontational. They think that they're messing up with them, or they're
being
like, no.
insulted. Yeah.
Yes. And the person is just, no, I'm just acknowledging how beautiful you are. And they can't accept it. I mean,
Mm,
some are really violent. They're like, it's just a word and it's a compliment. And they're like, no. And
mm,
then some even cried thinking that they're being bullied because they were, somebody said you're beautiful, which is weird, right?
ah, so I think wow, that just confirms that we live in a sarcastic world that we can't even believe when somebody is honestly complimenting us and we can't accept. Yes. I think some that's a defense mechanism, because what if they accept and they were actually just kidding or joking? Then that would hurt some more. Then
Mhm.
they'd much rather put up this wall and not believe and not accept so that they won't get hurt.
And speaking of that, why is it hard to accept our uniqueness?
I guess because a lot of us are trained to see think I mean, we're actually trained to fit in, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
trained to fit in. So how can you now celebrate your uniqueness if you're trained to you have to be like everyone else?
Oh, yes. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you shouldn't stand out. That's what
Yeah.
everybody's saying, right? You
Mhm.
should all be equal. But the reality is
You're
everybody
different.
stands out. Yep, in a
Exactly.
different way, right?
So we do our best to try to fit in, trying to fit in that mold to be acceptable or to be accepted. And that's I think where the where the insecurity comes, because now you realize I'm not like them. Or
Mhm.
when you're being compared, and why aren't you like that, or why aren't you
Oh,
like her? Yeah, so
yes, the
you try to
comparison,
become
right?
like someone else, yes,
Mm.
who's not you.
So why do you think it's important to just accept ourselves? Like if you stand out, just accept it.
Okay. Uh, I'm not sure. I grew in a state in an age of when was that? Also, like in the 1980s. Um, No, I won't go through. I won't go through history.
It's okay. You're only 1 year up. We're only 1 year apart from each other. So
No, okay. Can you ask me the question again so that I'll just give a different answer?
yeah. So why do you think it's different? It's hard. Or why is it important to learn to accept our uniqueness? You know, not to
Ah, okay.
stand out. How we're being unique. Like sometimes, like me when I was young, I got naturally straight hair, which I
Mm-hmm.
love. But I would say here, but the problem is that time hair should be very straight, silky smooth, and has to be black. My
Mm,
issue was, I think we're on that generation. I got my have some Spanish blood from my grandma,
mm,
which makes my hair the only Spanish I got was the hair, which is a little brownish. So
okay.
I would get teased that, it's sun bleached. I'm from the province because, near the ocean, what they
Yes.
usually called, I, see, I totally forgot the meaning. Meaning you're just from the ocean, you're a fisherman's daughter or
Yes.
something
Yes.
because
Yes.
of the hair.
Anak
And
araw in Tagalog.
yes. So, yun. So
I
I
get it.
was, so
So
I think at that time I didn't accept my uniqueness.
yes.
When I went to the States, colored hair, okay, fine. And then when I went back a few years ago, I had my hair I had my hair cut in the Philippines. And then all of a sudden, the hairstylist told me, Oy, tita, your hair is so beautiful. Who did your highlights? Because they didn't know I'm from the US, but they were like, Who did your highlights? It's very pretty. It's so natural. And then when she looked at my roots, she just saw that, oh my goodness. Actually,
Really
and she's like,
natural.
oh my goodness, you have natural highlights. I bonga. And I'm like, you know what? You're the only person who actually
Hmm.
acknowledged that after almost 40 years. You know?
Wow.
And then
Yeah.
I would say you're the only Filipino who acknowledged that. Because in the US it was, it was fine, but in the
Mhm.
Philippines, because I said
It
growing
wasn't?
up, nobody liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, there are two things that I'm getting from that. I think one, when you're different, you get teased,
Mhm.
right? So you don't want to be different so
Yeah.
that you won't get teased, like what happened to you. And so that's what's usually happens when you're in school, grade school, high school. That's the thing. And a lot of the things that our beliefs, our patterns, our programs are set, are built during those times. So even after that, even after the teasing is done, you know what happens? You start believing it,
Mhm.
and you're the one who's starting to judge yourself, and it's like it's a running audio tape recording in your head because you started believing what other people said, what other people teased you with when you were younger. Okay. And then second is, I feel that whatever it is that is not ours, like, because now that's a different thing. I would
Yeah.
have loved to have brown hair when I was your age, when we were younger, because
Uh-huh.
for me, my definition of beautiful was like that. Medyo tesay na brown hair, ganyan. So I'd actually um uh admire you for that, but maybe not say it. Maybe
Mhm.
I'll tease you about it, but actually not admit that I am jealous or envious of your hair.
Mhm.
So for me, I would now also be judging my own color. If it's really black,
Yeah. Like it's really black, right?
yeah, it's really black, so I'll judge it. So I think it's that we usually judge what's naturally given to us, and want to have what others have. I did a talk for 2,000 women. I asked them, "What do you think is beautiful hair? What kind?" Some would say straight, and then some would say
Curly.
curly. Yes, and there was one person right in front who really shouted straight. And I asked her, what is your natural hair? Curly.
It's not frustrated.
Yes, yes. So I think it's that.
Wow. That is so much fun. But you know what? We are now talking about physical beauty, right? And we already acknowledged that we are unique in a different way. So, can you share us some tips on how to bring out that not inner beauty, that physical beauty that we have? Because, like for me, in my case, when I had kids,
Mm-hmm.
I barely, and I'm in the US, no yaya.
Yeah.
You barely have time to shower. You have to bring your kids to school on a
Mm-hmm.
certain time, go to work. Sometimes I go, some people will go there in pajamas just to, just to, and if it's winter, you're wearing a coat anyway. So
Yeah.
we usually have a hard time. Sometimes you would see very beautiful people, like, they had nice features, but you won't really see it because of what they look like, right? Like they look
Mm-hmm.
like they hadn't taken care of, like didn't
You
put
stop
much
caring for
effort.
yourself, really. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we do that? Bring out that little beauty in us without spending like 2 hours in the mirror
Yes,
because we don't
that's
have
true.
those.
Okay, so that has been my mission. It's so I am a professional makeup artist. I've been trained in the past years. I've taken many courses, and I joined a brand just to learn more the techniques. But then I realized 96% of women aren't professional makeup artists.
Yep. I know, right?
I won't teach them the way I was trained. I'll teach them in the way I felt before. I was going back to that time when I was a clueless worker who just wanted to put on makeup that I could do.
Mhm.
So actually, I have a challenge in my community right now. And it's all about that. It's called the Diva Makeover Challenge, and in there, I really try to show them practical tips that you can actually do with just a few makeup, and with a very for the first time, for the first part, I shared with them just using their hands.
Yeah,
So
I've
I
watched that.
yeah, yeah. Of course, as a makeup artist, I have so many brushes. I even use airbrush and all of that. And even normal women can have different makeup brushes. That's why in the next few weeks, I'm also gonna teach that. But I wanted to show them that it can be done with just the hands. So I can show
Mhm.
you with
Yes.
yeah, sure. Give me like maybe 3 minutes to be able to
Mhm.
show you that it can be done simply.
Okay,
Okay,
so
with
for
five
those who
items.
okay, for those who are watching right now, you can ask Miss Ning or Coach Ning about her makeup, her easy 5-minute makeup, right? Maybe
Yeah,
less, maybe less.
let's try. Let's try. Let's time it. And this is it, ladies. I just want to share with you that I want to show that it can be done in 3 minutes. It's possible, but it doesn't mean that I learned it in 3 minutes. It just means that now I've developed the skill that I can do it in 3 minutes. So I'm just sharing to you the possibility that you can do it in 3 minutes, but be kind with yourself. When you're in the beginning and making mistakes, because applying makeup should be fun.
Oh,
Okay, so there.
okay, so we'll do the solo layout for Miss Ning, for Coach Ning.
Mhm. Okay, let's start with the concealer. If you notice, so usually it's just mostly on my under eye that I correct. So I use a right shade for me, and it has to be a medium warm shade. Okay, it has to be warm for the under eye because it balances out the bluish undertone under your eyes. Okay, even if you're Asian and you're usually yellow tone, right? You don't use yellow tone for under your eyes. You use that for your skin, for all over your face, but not your under eye. See, can you see how it already
Yep,
livened up my eyes? Okay, and I'm using my lightest touch finger, which is my ring finger, because you have to really give a lot of care for your under eye. There. So already
yeah,
corrected it. And now I'm using my yellow tone foundation, and I'm just gonna put a little. You don't have to pile it all up. So I'm using my this is the RCMA Shinto. So I'm using Shinto 2 for all over my face, and super little sides of my nose, over my face, and there. And then just make it reach up to my neck so that it doesn't look like my neck is separate from my face. There you go. And then I will use a contour, which is a darker shade, and that will just bring about, like, bring like dimension in my face, or like there. So the contour actually, and this is a trick, put it on the side of your nose, bring it up like that. There you go. So that it adds shadow, and it adds a highlight, because anything that you put contour on, that's what will recede, and what is left will be highlighted. You can actually use a highlighter shade, which is a lighter shade. I can use this one, and those parts that I want to highlight, I can put tip of my head, forehead, and that side of my nose, and then my chin. Okay, very simple, right? So you can see that you can
Yeah.
use just your hands, and then you curl your lashes. And when you curl your lashes, curl it on three parts, and one from the base of the lash line, and then the middle, and then the tip. Base, middle, and tip, because you want to have a soft curl, not a harsh check. Can you see it? The difference of
Yeah.
it now lifting my eyes, and then the other
Yeah.
side. Okay, I'll do it again. Yeah, make sure you use a nice brand or for the curl lash. This is what you want to invest on. The Shiseido or Shuemura, and what other, Mac can be a good brand as well. And then I looked for, I my favorite is K Palette for the eyebrows, but I also look for a local brand. This is Caroline. This is in taupe, so that it's not so harsh. um I usually just put here, so that it's very mild. So here you make it a point at the end, and then on the other side here you make it a little more thick. Okay, but finer. So it's lighter touch but thicker. And then so thicker here, pointier at the edge, and then you just soften it with the brush on the other hand. On there. See? There. So the other side, that's what I'm going to do. Did you time me, Rochi?
Yeah.
How many minutes already?
Less than three. So almost, yep, it just got 3 minutes. There you go.
Okay, there. So it's just to fill in, to soften it out. Make sure also it's the right shade, so that so please don't use black or dark brown for your eyebrows. You want to use a lighter shade so that it's softer. And then the lipstick. Okay, this one is something that's orangey, just to brighten up my day.
Do you
Okay.
recommend the dark lipstick?
Depends. Actually, you can play with lipstick shades. I usually suggest two shades, like get the dark, get a light, and then you can mix it. And on the taste,
Oh,
yeah, so that you can play with the different shades. So I didn't bring out another shade of lipstick, but that's what you can do. You can, like, if you feel that this is too strong, I want to lighten it up. You put you put a lighter shade, and so that's a completely new shade for you. And then you can also use this as if, especially if it's a cream lipstick, you can put it on your finger, and then you put it on your cheeks, and that now
wow.
becomes your blush.
Wow, look at that. A big transformation, guys, right? No,
There.
I mean you're very pretty, but you see the difference with the makeup and without makeup.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's less than 5 minutes. Wow.
Yes. And it's something, as a life coach, I'm an NLP practitioner, and in that practice we realize that our physical, so our thinking, there's two things there. Our psychology affects our physiology, meaning our thinking affects our acting. But there's also another way that our acting affects our thinking. So when
Mhm.
you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and you have dark eye bags, your hair is like a mess, what message is it giving to you? You yourself will feel, I'm so harassed, I'm so tired, right? But the
Yes.
moment you put something on that helps lift your mood, helps you feel brighter and lighter, the moment you look at yourself in the mirror, it hey, I feel like I'm ready to face my day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually helping you. And so it's not just that, it's why don't you roll your shoulders up so that you feel more confident? Why don't you smile? And all
Mm-hmm.
of these physical things actually help you change the way you think and you feel. So that's
Wow. Actually, it really does make sense because I remember when, when my kids are younger, I at that time I really like to put on makeup like early in the morning. If I have friends who would see me in the parking lot and they're like, "Oh my goodness, you had make full makeup on and everything." And yes, I made an effort for at least like 30 minutes because I told them I don't want to if I'm going to have a crappy day, at
mm,
least I look beautiful, like I
mm.
may have a flat tire, the kids may be late in school, because there's so many
But you
things
feel good
beyond my
about
control,
yourself.
but at least I know that I'm happy with the way that I look because I don't want to be somebody who has like you might say, "Oh my god, I don't have money today. The car broke down," and all the problems, and then you're going to look in the mirror and say, "Look at your face. You have wrinkles, you look miserable."
Mm.
Right? So I think that's a good thing that actually most I feel old now because my kids are 12 and up, and many moms who are in their younger years, they have like a toddler or something, then they would say, what are your tips, during the day? And I say, you know what, I know it's hard. Take a shower,
Yes.
wear nice dress, nice clothes. Don't stay on your pajamas the whole day.
Yeah. Because it's going to help you change your mind about what you can do. Yes, it's that. It's that little thing, like just changing into something you like to wear, or that makes you feel good. Even with just that minor effort, you already feel that you're taking care of yourself, even if you're taking care of others.
Mhm. Okay, so guys, don't forget we have the quick makeup session. And how many things did you use again for the makeup?
I used Curl Lash, and for the eye, 5 items. These items. I used lipstick that I used also as my blush. I found foundation, which is also contour, and then curl lash, concealer, and for the eyebrows.
Yeah. Why did you pick the eyebrows? Because I know most people that's their issue. So
Mm-hmm.
why is it important to I would say make an effort on your eyebrows?
Mm. Okay. Actually, before I didn't give any importance to the eyebrows, especially when I was not a makeup artist. But then it does help crown or frame the face. So, but there is importance to the eyebrows. But I also tell people, because some people say kilay is life, or with eyebrows is life, right? And then we put so much judgment on ourselves when we can't do it right. And then we put so much, so much importance to the kilay. So for me, kilay is kilay. It's part of
Mhm.
the face that I'd also like to fill in, that I'd also like to shape. And if you can do it, that's great. Okay,
Mhm.
and just be kind to yourself when you're practicing it, and rest assured, please, please, please be assured that there's no kilay, there's no eyebrows that are pantay or
Oh,
symmetrical. And we always judge ourselves. So
yeah.
another side of me is like, I want to give people the tools and be able to give them the skills to do makeup properly, but I also want to give them the right heart set and mindset. Is that
Mhm.
the number one thing, the aim that we're doing makeup at all is but to be kind to ourselves, to love ourselves. And that also includes when we're putting makeup, that we actually say, oh, that's all right, because no kila is no
Yeah.
eyebrows. And I've been judging a lot of the models I do makeup on. They'll always say, oh, my eyebrows aren't pantay or aren't
Yeah.
equal. Not, because never will anyone have that. So for me, number one is start loving yourself. Start
Mhm.
remove the judgment that you have. So the makeup is really to just enhance, bring out, have fun, to help you feel better about yourself, not feel like, oh, I'm doing such an awful job. I don't know how to do this. I'm so clueless. It's have fun, allow to have mistakes, and I'll grow more. And also, so the other side is grow more in giving yourself that loving kindness. So in the Diva Makeover Challenge that I'm doing right now,
Yeah.
it's really both sides and giving you the skills and giving you the tools to make it easier for you. And on the other hand, I want you to grow more in giving loving affirmations to yourself,
Mhm.
because like in the beginning you said nga that women don't really accept when other people say, oh, you're beautiful. You know
Beautiful.
what that is an indication of? That even
Mm.
they themselves, they've never told themselves that, so they
Mhm.
don't believe it. What they believe is that someone else said you're not beautiful, or you're not enough, or why can't you be this something else. So the moment we start changing the way we talk to ourselves, remember I said, if we start believing it, and it now becomes us who's saying that to ourselves, it's now
Mhm.
becoming our inner basher or our inner, yeah. So
Yeah.
why don't we change that inner basher, that inner critic, by now starting to say something else? In the beginning, it might feel fake. Like when you say, "I'm beautiful," you look at yourself in the mirror, because that was my challenge. Look at
Yeah.
yourself in the mirror, look at yourself in the eye, and say, "I'm beautiful inside and out." In the beginning, it might not feel natural at all, and you know what that is, that's just an indication that you didn't never said that nice thing to yourself
Mhm.
before. And so I say that we're just not used to that. So hindi lang siya in Tagalog, hindi ka lang nasanay. So what you want now, by changing the way you talk to yourself, you're now making yourself get used to that better way of talking to yourself. So that,
Yeah, actually, you know what? You reminded me of this. I would say somebody who told me that, but I totally forgot. Women tend to be very appreciative of other people, but they are very critical with
yes.
themselves. Or sometimes we are not that kind to ourselves. There was, yeah, I remember when they said, "Will you say that to somebody else? What you just said to yourself?" Right? And
Mm,
I'm like, yes, you know, like, will you, you know, if you see somebody look in their face and say, what you just said to yourself, can you tell that to that person? Most of the time you say, no, that's too mean. Or like, no, that's not nice. And they're like, then why are you telling it to yourself? Right?
yes, exactly. So now we're just retraining ourselves, because that has become our usual programming. I call that voice in our heads is usually just it's called an internal dialogue, but because of how we have been programmed, it's not just an internal dialogue that's neither good or bad. It does turn into our inner critic. So my aim is to be able to catch that inner critic and be able to turn it into your. I use two things. Either as a coach, I say turn it into your inner coach,
Mhm.
okay, or you turn it into your inner diva, the one that tells you, no, I can stand up and say I'm beautiful. And in the
Mhm.
beginning, it might feel awkward, but after a while, and it's this women who can't accept when people say they're beautiful, because they have never told themselves that. I realized that about myself before. I really couldn't accept compliments. When somebody else nga says, "You're,
Yeah.
you're so beautiful," I go, huh? No, my cheeks are so fat, my
Yeah.
whatever. I'll always say something that negates what they're saying. And then when I started talking to myself in a better way, I realized it wasn't immediate, but I realized afterwards, when someone else would say, "Hey, Ning, you're so beautiful," I would be able to accept it, and not
Mhm.
as in really not just being polite to them, and I would say, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it feels good, right? That's when somebody says something nice. You actually felt nice as well.
Mhm. Yes. And you
Yeah.
finally accept it, because most of the time other people will probably have been giving you that compliment, but since you're stuck in that inner critic saying you're not that, then you actually don't accept it.
So, you've been saying so many things to bring out our inner beauty, right? So, in general, what are the five things that we can do, to be to feel beautiful? In from for if you
From all
there's
of
just
those.
yeah, from
Yeah.
all these things, yeah, five things that maybe,
Okay.
because women have short attention spans. I know that.
Okay.
It's like the takeaway, the summary of the five things that we should do to
Okay.
feel beautiful.
So first, the moment you wake up, and this has been my practice that has been helping me, especially since the pandemic. With the moment when you wake up, can you smile?
Smile.
Do that, Rochi. The tomorrow,
Smile.
the moment you wake up, you smile and you say, "Thank you that I'm awake. Thank you that I'm
Mhm.
alive." And just, feel that gratitude, because that's what I realized with everything that's happening, with millions of people dying all over the world. I am so blessed to wake up this morning and still have my breath.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
all I can do is smile for this new day, whatever comes. Okay, so I'll smile. That's number one.
Smile.
Okay? And then the next, please do whatever it is that will help you feel more alive in that day, whether it's taking a bath or dressing up, not stuck in your pajamas. That will make you feel productive, that will make you feel more alive. Whatever it is that will make you feel that, do it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then third, why don't you? So I said you smile, right? So
Yeah.
that, why don't you start talking to yourself in a better way? So
Mhm.
just from that moment, you already say, "Thank you, I'm alive." Or the moment you look in the mirror, the first thing we do when we look in the mirror, do you know what I don't know about you, but that's what I noticed before. I would first notice, like, my eye bags, my
The eye
pimples.
bag spoofy.
That's the first thing you'll notice. But what if again you change your focus and look at what's beautiful in you, and just say, again, look at yourself and say, "Hey, you're beautiful. I love your eyes." Or
Yeah.
whatever it is that you love about yourself, acknowledge it. So talk to yourself in a bit different way, look at yourself in a different way, and start getting used to it. Again, I'm telling you, it might not feel natural in the beginning. It may feel fake, but it's just because we're not used to it. It's just that. It doesn't mean it's not true. Okay? And the
Mhm.
other thing is, when you believe you're ugly, it's
You
the
will feel ugly, right?
yeah, yeah. And that's the untruth. That's the thing, that's the lie that we started believing. Okay, so we're again just changing our minds to the truth. Okay, start
Mhm.
making, finally believing what is true. And then fifth, learn a skill. Learn a makeup skill or whatever it is, that skill that will help again brighten you up, help you feel that you're caring for yourself. And for me, a simple tool is learning simple makeup. That's it.
Mm, that's it. Wow. That is so powerful, I have to say, because sometimes everything seems to be very complicated. Like with the makeup, it
Mhm.
tends to be complicated. And
Yeah,
then dressing up tends to be complicated. And then next time, life gets complicated.
yeah.
And I like that you are actually, I was putting things here before and asking you. I'm only asking for five things or five
Yeah.
tips, because why? It's easy. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's done. And what you've shared is very powerful, because I could understand it. Meaning, number one, I could smile when I wake up in the morning. After I wake up, I'm like, just
Simple.
smile.
Yeah.
Number two, shower or get dressed, remove the pajamas, wear something nice, even at home, right? Even at
Yeah.
home. Because I remember before my kids would say, but we're not going out. I said, you know what? Try to look at least nicer.
Mm.
Like when somebody enters the door or something, you don't look like you're the most miserable person,
Exactly. You
right?
ask yourself, how does this make me feel? It's not about the
Mhm.
other person. It's about you. How does this make you feel being stuck in your pajamas?
Yeah. I
Okay.
know
Does it
it's
make
comfy, but it's still.
yeah, but when you look at yourself in the mirror, it there's a psychology behind it that actually makes you feel I will just lie down and not
Mm-hmm.
do anything or not be productive in this day.
Yes, yes. So number three is like what? May of affirmations, right?
Yes, talk to
Yes.
yourself in a different way.
Talk to yourself. Number four. See, I totally
My
forgot.
four, I think, was look at yourself in a different way. Like
Yeah.
finally, finally look at what you're grateful for. Finally realize what's beautiful in you. So that's different, and act in a different way if you can.
Yeah.
Again, that's also like looking at yourself when your shoulders are up, when you're smiling. You finally feel, look, and think differently. So
Mhm.
yes.
And the last one is do something that is, start
Know what?
learning something,
Yeah,
right?
learn a
Something
skill,
new.
and this,
Mhm.
yeah, the simplest thing that for me that I think that's helping other women is, yeah, even if it's just the right shade of putting of the concealer or the right shade of the foundation, not because sometimes we put a lot of effort, but because we really don't know what is the easy practical right thing, then it becomes complicated, it becomes hard. But just, yeah, be able to learn it in the simplest way possible and do it.
Yeah, just like cooking. If you want to cook or you're interested to cook, maybe because I know some people are like, "What do you do? Stir fry. It looks complicated." No, you just put the garlic, onions, you put everything there with a little oil and the wok. It's done. And they're like,
Mm,
"Is it really that simple?" Yes, and
that's
right.
true. That's true. Yeah, I used to be so averse about cooking. I didn't like cooking. I thought I couldn't do it also again. But when I just started watching and realizing, okay, these are the simple tips and tricks I can do to make this easier for me, and it can be done. And yeah,
Yeah. And yes, YouTube is there, right? If you want a new skill, it doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, it's nice to enroll or something. If you don't have the budget, because I'm always saying I'm the frugalista mom, go to YouTube. Look, there are tips on even how to change a faucet or something.
okay.
Or, right? If there's a
Yes.
little skill, how to
So
grow plants, right?
So there are two things for me in that sense. There's things that are free, and that's when you start learning things, and just, okay, this is something that I can, the little things that I can learn and all of that. But also, it's also important that you invest in yourself, invest in your growth, especially if that's something that can help not just you, but will after a while actually affect all the people you touch with your whole family. So I would say that my the biggest investment that I gave to myself was learning all of these life coaching skills, was because it helped me first, it blessed me and my relationships first, and now I'm just sharing it to others. But I
Mhm.
needed to take that leap as well,
Yeah.
um, because it is practical in the long term to also invest on yourself in a very in the things that are important.
Yeah, actually, that's a good thing because most of moms, like us or women, we always invest on others, on other things. And
Mm-hmm.
like when we make a list, grocery list, what we like
True.
is always at the end. Or
Mm,
what are the things we wanted to do? What we like is always at the end because child number one wants this one, child number two, if we put it in priority. And at the end of the day, we always forget or
yeah.
like we didn't have the energy to do what we want. So I think now it's a time to actually make it a priority, right?
And just know what is important to you.
Mhm.
And if what it is that you're investing on for yourself, will it bless them in the long run?
Yeah. So that is so nice. So nice, guys. And before we end, see, now we're almost in the end. So we don't have questions. Maybe some people were looking at their makeup bags and trying on the makeup. Well, I would love that, but you know what? You can still watch the replay and it's going to be on YouTube. But before we end, here's my last question. Can you complete this sentence? Oh, we have one. See, before we end, we have someone. Someone said, "So true,
Oh, hey,
Marites."
Maritas.
Yeah, hi Marites. So I think she was like, because I know she's been watching for a while.
Mm.
So I think that's a good one. So before we end, here is my last question for you. Can you complete this sentence? I am your name, and what else do you want to say?
Oh, okay. So I am. So actually, my full name is Maria Luningning. Yeah. Shortcut.
Sparkly.
Yes, and that's something that I actually rejected about myself before until I realized that I can't, that's one thing that changed my mind. I tried to change it to Twinkle, to Tala, to all those different versions of my name. Yeah. And it was a reflection of me not accepting my roots, not accepting where I came from. And I realized I just love it. Okay. So I am Maria Luningning Barcelo Tadena, and I am a diva. A diva!
Wow, diva! Yes, you are. That is so nice. Actually,
I yeah.
it's funny because right now while I'm staring at you, you reminded me of somebody all the time. I'm like, I can't just put two and two together. You actually look like Claudine Barreto.
Oh yeah. When I was,
Yeah,
I think when I was in high school, a lot of people were saying that we kind of looked alike.
I was like, wait
Yeah, 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 yeah. I heard that already before.
up. There you go.
So I just want to share why diva.
Yes,
And
why diva?
a lot of women might think, what diva? Diva means demanding. Diva means bitch. Sometimes, right? Because
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
it's very negative. The word
yeah.
diva can be very
Yes,
negative.
in the Urban Dictionary. But
Mm-hmm.
actually, when you look at it in its original Latin roots, a diva means from God.
Oh.
Yeah, and I realized really that's how our society works right now. Like, if we were just to look at the original meaning of things, a lot of them were based on like um the parang higher or better version of the definition, and now the diva is that. So I wanted to go back to the highest definition of what the diva means, and it's just really from God. And for me now, knowing understanding that, I realize that I can be that I am human, I am, but I'm divinely created. I'm divinely created and beautifully human. And
Mm-hmm.
so now it's like breaking free from the box that I put myself in. And being a diva now actually says I can be beautiful, strong, kind, and smart all at the
Yeah.
same time. It's breaking free from the limits and the judgments that we set on ourselves in the
Mm-hmm.
present time. So that's really that.
Yes. Okay. So before we say goodbye, invite them to Unlock the Diva. So where can we find more of Coach Ning?
Okay, so yeah, join us in the Unlock the Diva community. So it's women helping women, empowering, inspiring women. It's inside Facebook. It's a Facebook group. So just look for Unlock the Diva community. You can also be my friend on Facebook. It's Ning Tadena. And I also have a page. It's called Coach Ning Tadena. But just join Unlock the Diva community, because that's where you will find out about the Diva Makeover Challenge. It
Wow.
just started last Wednesday, so you'll be able to watch the replay. We did the fresh look, and then next week will the topic will be the right foundation. So it's that,
Oh.
yeah, I'll teach about different foundations, the contour, the highlight, and the color correction. So, and I'm gonna make it very simple because I had to study pa for that. So
Oh, that is really nice because you know what? For those of you who are watching, even though she's in the Philippines, I subscribed to that challenge, and I watched the first video, and I really loved it. And especially one thing aside from the how to use the curl lash that she already taught us, she told us that most Asians have cool tones. I always thought we're warm. Yeah, because they say, I know, because there's some questioners that say if you have hair and your complexion is not that white, then you're warm. So so all these time I thought I'm a warm.
So you try. Why don't you go to the no and test a yellow tone and a warm tone, one on the other side, one on each side, and go walk around for 1 hour and see.
No, actually, that when you, because usually I would buy. I don't. I never looked for like warm or cool. I never understood that. So
Mhm.
most of the time, I always just test it, and if I buy in the stores, I was like, "Can I try it?" So they
Mm,
would tell me, but I never realized that I'm getting
the
cool
wrong.
all the time. But I thought
Mhm.
I'm a worm. See, that was something that's very interesting. So guys, if you haven't, go to her. Actually, I do have her website there, which is unlockthediva.com in the description. But I'm also gonna add the. I think it has a slash for the
Yeah, Diva
makeover
Makeover
challenge.
Challenge. Yeah, Makeover Challenge. Because you'll also get a guide, a free guide, every after the session. So yeah, register please
Yeah,
for free.
and yeah, there you go. And the good thing is it's for free, right? Oh, before we end, somebody made a comment. I don't know if you remember him. Just want to say hi to
Oh,
Ning.
hi!
Hi, Benjour. Yep. Yes. And for those of you, here's a full who don't know, full disclosure, Ning and I went to the same grade school. There
In
you
the
go.
Philippines.
In the Philippines. Yes. And it's funny because she's like, "Where did we meet again?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're in the same grade." And she's like, "Oh my goodness, no wonder." And
Yeah.
our school is very small, so we know everybody for one
Yeah.
weird reason. But she left. She left, I think, for
For
high
high
school.
school. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so but then everybody still knows her. And it's funny because when I told them, join us because it's Ning Tadena, and then I put Barcelo, and they're like, wait up, are you talking about the Luning Ning Barcelo? And I'm like, yes, the one and only. Because it's hard because your name is very, I would say, very different. You know,
Yeah.
Luning
Again,
Ning,
very
yeah,
unique, very different. And I hated that before. I
but
hated that.
it's like everybody knows her right away because of her name.
Mhm.
It's one of those.
And now I've decided to embrace it. So that's the great thing about finally. And I think go through journeys. We finally, like, we go through a journey of testing different skins. That's what I now share. Different skins, different trying out different things until we get to the point where we're finally comfortable in our own skin, in our own roots, and that's when we can finally celebrate it.
Wow. So thank you so much, Ning. I can't believe it's almost an hour. Yep, we hit at an hour. Thank you so much. We learned so much from you, and I hope you learned so much from us tonight. And if you have any comments, keep them coming because I'm going to ask Ning to check it out for you. And if you have questions, you can reach out to Ning and to me, and we're more than happy to answer them. If we know the answer, right? so, so, guys, thank you so much for joining us. And I hope to see you again next week because we have another interesting topic. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Go.